Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 18 male, have a complicated relationship with my parents. As I've gotten older, it's gotten worse. Recently, I received a sum of money from my deceased grandpa, about $125K, all for college. When I was told I inherited it, I was excited that I would be able to afford my dream school. When I tried to get the money transferred to my college savings, I encountered a problem: my mother. She has this idea that since I was the oldest, I would have to pay her back everything, including all of the medical stuff I went through before I was even 4. So that would be a lot. I went to ask her to transfer the money into my college savings account, but she refused, claiming that it was rightfully hers because of all she has done for me. To say I was mad was an understatement. All through my life, she would go into my room and steal whatever cash I had, and even destroy the safe my grandfather had bought me. Any sort of money that I had won from different sporting competitions, she would cash it in for herself. So I waited a few days to talk to her again, but used my time wisely. When I was 13, I decided to start keeping a notebook of all the money I had earned. She doesn't do any of this to my siblings, only to me. Well, when I added everything up and included the $125K from my grandpa, it was about $250K that I had recorded. That's a lot of money for an 18-year-old to imagine, but I saw everything as purely college savings. 3 days ago, I went to her with my notebook, records of all transactions she made through my account, and went through everything with her. At first, she was confused, but when I said the magical grand total, she went nuts. She started yelling that all of that was hers, since she had spent more than that on my medical bills. I tried to stay calm, but I've had enough of her dumb excuses. So I told her that she doesn't do any of this with my siblings, which she only said that it was my job as the oldest to pay her. I've seen enough of situations like this, so I had copied everything into my file on my laptop. When she took away my notebook and papers to destroy, I just added on what the notebook, folder, and papers had cost to the total. 2 days ago, I sent her an email laying out that I either wanted everything that she had stolen from me, not worrying about interest because that's too complicated right now, or I would be going the legal route, suing her for more than what she has stolen from me, which included all of my therapy. Now, I'm worried that I may have taken it too far. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole for threatening legal action against my mother? Edit, update. So, the past couple of days have been a crap show. I've gotten a lawyer hired and filed a police report on the situation. My father even left his business trip several days early just to help me with everything. I'm still living with my friend and plan on doing so until I go to college. As for what bank accounts I have, I was able to set up one with no fees and get everything transferred there. After doing so, I closed the accounts which had my mother's name on them. For my grandpa's will, the group that helped with that has gotten in contact with me. My mother did forge everything and bribed one of the employees. That employee will be charged, but given that they are in a different state, it could take longer. Now, several things have come up. For starters, out of the 6 kids, I'm the only one who is related to my father by blood. All of my siblings are half-siblings, but I don't consider them any less family. During an argument, my mother revealed that the other 5 were results of a 16-year-long affair. All of them have the same father, but not mine. So now, she's dealing with a lawsuit, potential criminal charges, and a divorce. My father has kicked her from the house and is working to get her name off the house, my car, and everything else that he can. He's trying to fight for full custody for my siblings, which at this point I think he can easily win. Thank you so much to everyone who gave me suggestions on what I needed to do. It helped a lot and made me realize just how much I was putting up with. Now I'm going to go to sleep, as I've been up for nearly 2 hours and have a chemistry test today. OP's mother has been stealing from OP for years, and then has the audacity to call it repayment? No, that's not how parenting works. You don't get to bring a child into the world and then treat them like an ATM. Good on OP for standing up for himself. OP has been more than patient, and it sounds like OP has handled this with incredible maturity despite the emotional toll. The fact that she destroyed OP's notebook shows how far she's willing to go to cover her tracks. And OP's foresight in backing everything up was brilliant. I'm sorry OP's father had to find out about her betrayal in such a devastating way. But it sounds like he's supporting OP now, which is great. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. You've been through so much, and honestly, I'm amazed at how well you've handled it. The fact that your mother targeted only you and not your siblings is cruel. She clearly viewed you as some kind of cash cow, not her child. The revelation about your siblings' paternity is mind-blowing, and it just goes to show how deep her lies and manipulation run. She didn't just steal your money, she stole your trust, your peace of mind, and almost your future. I'm so glad you're taking legal action and that your dad is on your side. Keep fighting for what's rightfully yours, and please update us when the dust settles. You've got this. Info. How are your siblings handling all of this? I can't imagine what it's like for them to find out that your mom was lying for years and that their dad isn't their biological father. It sounds like you're taking steps to protect yourself, but are they safe and supported through all this? Also, not the a-hole, not by a long shot. Your mom dug this hole for herself, and now she's trying to guilt trip you into letting her get away with it. Don't back down. You're doing the right thing, not just for yourself, but for your siblings too. They need at least one stable adult in their lives right now. Not the a-hole. Your mother has been emotionally and financially aggressive for years, and you finally stood up to her. That takes guts, especially given the situation you were in. You're not just protecting yourself, but also paving the way for your siblings to see your true colors. As for your dad, he must be devastated, but it sounds like he's stepping up now, and that's what matters. The fact that he's fighting for custody and cutting her out of his life shows that he's committed to doing what's best for you and your siblings. You've been incredibly strong through this, and I hope you get every penny of your inheritance back. Please keep us updated. We're rooting for you. My son's father has been with this woman for just about 2 years. She lives across the country. They visit each other a couple times a year. During her visit earlier this year, she invited me, my mom, and my son to a museum trip. First big outing together, just a little bit of pressure. A few times during said outing, she overparented me while I was engaged with my son, and even said some things to my mom that were over the line, and it made me uncomfortable. After we got home, I sent her a decent-length text about how I felt. I told her I didn't want bad feelings to fester and knew that she just wanted everyone to like her, but certain things didn't sit well with me. I suggested she take on a trusted adult friend role as opposed to parent. She apologized profusely. I told her I understood and that she was in a really tricky situation and that it was going to be hard, but I was sure with some work we'd all get along fine. Seemed to me the situation was resolved. We chatted lightly on social media, etc. I put it out of my mind. About a month ago, as I was planning my son's birthday party, I get a lengthy text from my ex saying how his girlfriend thinks I hate her and it's causing tension in their relationship. He says I'm letting past trauma. We both had tumultuous relationships end prior to this. Impact his relationship with her and her relationship with our son. He asked me to apologize to her for hurting her feelings. He implied that if I didn't, she was going to leave him. I told him that was a bit crazy, but I'd figure something out when I wasn't so busy. I honestly forgot all about it because I am hella ducking busy all the time. So now, yesterday, he sends me an incredibly long emotional text about how hurt she is, and I'm ruining his relationship because I can't let go of the past issues we've had with other significant others. I kind of laid into him about how their problems are not my problems. I was polite in my previous messages to her, and he should work this out with her, not me. I definitely got angry, but I am over this. He shuts down because he says it's just easier to let you have your way. Not the a-hole. She overstepped and you corrected things. Their relationship is long distance with a few in-person meetings a year, so it's not like you were always around. Her problems with the situation have nothing to do with you. You are wise not to buy into all this drama. Not the a-hole. It's up to him to solve his relationship problems, and you did nothing wrong in correcting her behavior when she crossed the line with your parenting. If she were to break up with him because you don't like her, or she thinks you don't, then they don't have a good relationship. I think he just wants someone else to blame his troubles on because he doesn't want to look at himself, or he doesn't want to look at her. Everyone sucks here. You should have addressed it with your baby daddy instead. He may have told her he wanted her to play a certain role in the child's life, so she's operating on what she thinks she's supposed to be doing. You're not sharing any clear details, so we don't know what boundaries she crossed exactly. but including the phrase "bad feelings fester" in a lengthy text after she invited you all out to the museum together. I'm not surprised she's hesitant about being involved at all. Just like you think your baby daddy and his girlfriend should work this out on their own. Agree on that point. You should have discussed any parenting issues you had with him instead. Let's be real. A lot of baby mamas don't like their kids even being around the new partner. It's always some drama. The issue wasn't with him, so I figured it was best to go to her. I am working on going directly to the source. She did things like step in while I was sorting issues out with my son, tell him to eat certain foods as I was actively explaining to him why we eat certain foods, offer to pick him up as he was sitting on my lap, made him focus entirely on her during certain parts of the day by saying she needed his help. He was 6 at the time and is very helpful and clearly loves attention from anyone. It felt like she was making the whole day about her, which isn't a good look when going on your first excursion with a new family in an already awkward situation. She also decided it was a good time to try to convince my mom and I to move to her home state, so the whole day ended up feeling like a timeshare spiel. For some background context, I've been married to my wife for close to 10 years, with a single child. We are both from what you would call, for lack of a better word, wealthy-ish families. Her parents own a company which she currently runs, and she has one elder brother. My wife and her elder brother have never gotten along, due to bad behavior from the latter since young. This has never been resolved, and things became cordial when both of them started working in the same company. She still holds resentment toward her parents for not stepping in and addressing these behavioral issues since young. Her elder brother has been taking a leading role in the company since her parents started taking a step back, until he and his wife had their first child. He had diagnosed mental illness after, including schizophrenia, and took time off work. As such, my wife took over the reins while he went on essentially a hiatus of 5 to 6 years on paid leave, as requested by their parents. In that time frame, his contributions were limited to the odd email suggestion on some processes, and he spent some time traveling around the globe pre-virus with his wife, who quit her job as well, and they also found the time to have 2 other children. Recently, he has declared himself fit to return to work, and their parents are requesting that my wife step back and let him take the driving seat again. We both feel perplexed at this given the mentioned situation and the continued expansion of the company and other sectors under her. Unfortunately, her parents still hold the majority shares, so there isn't much we can do. I raised this to my in-laws and explained that aside from being extremely unfair, this would be a crushing blow for my wife's self-esteem. Her parents remarked that if not for his condition, he would have remained in the same position and that it wasn't any of my business, strictly speaking. I said that as her husband, it was my duty to speak up for her rights when needed. Nothing fruitful came out of that conversation, but a few days later, my brother-in-law and his wife confronted me over what I said and accused me of being a gold digger and sowing discord in the family. That stung, as I've always had that impression of his wife as she frequently sought financial help for her family situation and lived a lavish lifestyle with both of them not working for the past few years. In addition, I also found out that they would be assigned majority of the assets on virtue of having more children. I snapped and told his wife off distastefully that I didn't need others to financially support me like she did. I also went off on my parents-in-law, saying that they should be ashamed of themselves for supporting such a leech. It's a cold war as of now, and while my wife understands my intentions, she felt that I went overboard and everything is beyond repair now. Am I the a-hole for not staying silent? Everyone sucks here. They suck for obvious reasons. You suck for stepping in and having a conversation about your wife's career with her parents. I said that as her husband, it was my duty to speak up for her rights when needed. Nope. Running her parents' company is not a right, and this is a personal and professional issue. She can and should be speaking for herself. You haven't made this situation better. You've made it a whole lot worse. I don't know what telling your brother-in-law's wife off distastefully means, but you said some horrible things to people your wife loves. She would have handled this better. Everyone sucks here, honestly. Although I think your in-laws are more wrong in this situation. It wasn't your position to sever you and your wife's relationship with them. This was a matter specifically concerning her, and I think it's up to her on how to deal with it. If you felt that strongly towards your brother-in-law's wife, you should voice out your opinion to your wife, not do an irreparable act like this. In the end, the person who matters most to you in this situation is your wife, and you should have told her directly before interacting with your in-laws. Everyone sucks here. Your in-laws suck, but you made the situation worse. I'm sure your wife is more than capable of handling the situation if she's able to run a company. You should focus on being by her side and supporting her, not fighting her battles for her, or else it'll make her look worse. I, 28 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 27 female, for 5 years. We met in college where she was an international student. She started working after graduation while I am currently doing a master's. Her company was sponsoring her visa until they got bought out and she got laid off. She was given a limited time to find a new employer to sponsor her new visa, and it really stressed her out. She was applying to jobs every day and did a lot of interviews, but unfortunately wasn't able to get an offer. She really wanted to stay since she loves the place and I would still be here in the country. While I was out with a buddy, he suggested that I sponsor her visa since we have been in a relationship for quite some time. I love her and I didn't want to see her stressed out. I told her about the idea. She was hesitant at first. She said she didn't want me to think that she was with me so I could be her way to a permanent residence or citizenship to the country. I wanted her to stay and I wanted to do it. We consulted an immigration consultant and decided to do the paperwork on our own. She was the one who mostly looked into the stuff we needed to prepare. She still applied for jobs, but not as urgently as she used to. It took a while since we never really had anything joint. We lived together and just split the bills on our own. She had enough saved up to be okay for a while. I had to fill out some paperwork to be her sponsor, and I felt uneasy about it. I did want her to stay, but it felt like it was too much. Eventually, she was done with her part, and all that was left was mine. I finally told her that I didn't want to go through with it. She was very upset and asked why. I told her that I suggested the idea because I didn't want to see her stressed out all the time, and that I eventually realized that I shouldn't have to be responsible for her. We had a long talk where I told her that I still want to be in a relationship with her, but I just don't want to be forced to be responsible for her. She said she felt very hurt by what I said. Things changed and she didn't really talk to me after. She kept applying for jobs and attending interviews, but eventually her visa expired. Before she left, I told her I love her and that I would really want her to come back. However, she told me that she sees me differently after the things I told her. It has been a few weeks since she left. I miss her cooking, her presence, and being able to spend time with her. I still want a future with her. However, our close friends have been telling me that I was an a-hole. I disagree, and I think they are biased. So here I am asking what Reddit thinks. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. I think you just suggested the solution because she was stressed, which means you were not getting to see the girlfriend you adore. So you wanted to snap her out of it. The moment she relied on you and stopped looking for jobs actively, you pulled out. You made her leave. You just didn't want to be around negative energy and never wanted to help her in the first place. You're the a-hole. Wow, lady dodged a bullet there for sure. I miss her cooking, her presence. Sounds like you thought it might have been a power trip before you realized it was a level of responsibility. Imagine telling her you love her as she boards her plane. The nerve. Please, don't go around blaming this woman, okay? This is your screw-up. She expressed her discomfort with the idea and you reassured her it was all good and you wanted to do it. You're the a-hole. I could understand where you were coming from if you were only dating for a couple of months. But 5 years? She deserves way better than you. In fact, she probably dodged a bullet. You're the a-hole by a long shot. I love you, but only in that way where I'm not willing to take any chances or make any sacrifices. We've been together for 5 years, but I don't think you should count on me for anything major. Anyway, we're cool, right? When are you coming back? Edit. I've read through a lot of comments, and everyone seems to think I'm the a-hole here. To those asking what my responsibilities would be, I have to be financially responsible for her for 3 years. If she gets any government assistance or social welfare, I would have to pay it back. I also can't sponsor anyone else until the 3 years have passed. Also, I listed what I missed about her in no particular order. I listed that I miss her cooking first, but it doesn't mean I don't miss her. To the people who said I'm probably an immigrant too, what does that have to do with anything? My parents moved to where we are now, so here I am. I still stand by what I said. No one I know has to do anything like this. It just doesn't feel normal. I would want to eventually have a home with her, but I don't think anyone should have to be responsible for another person's decisions or their circumstances. It's just gaslighting if you convince someone that they should be. I have 2 kids, Erin, 16 female, and Luca, 15 male. Erin is technically my stepdaughter, and I met her mother, Luz, when Erin was 3 and my bio son Luca was almost 2. We married when Erin was 7, and I view her as my own child. I thought that we'd raised her to be honest and do right. Last week, a girl about Aaron's age and her parents were at my door. Her father shoves his phone in my face, which is on Find My Mac, and shows that Gia's MacBook Pro is located at our home. He demanded the MacBook back, said Aaron stole it, and that it's a 14-inch MacBook Pro with a koi fish case. I turned to my daughter. She was in the living room, and asked what this was about. Aaron said she didn't know what they were talking about. I had no reason to distrust Aaron, so I told the man that it must be a glitch. The cops eventually showed up. They talked to Aaron, who continues denying it, but after they mention possible juvie time, she reluctantly walks up the stairs to her room and comes back with the MacBook. Luz and I were in shock that Aaron stole. The cops asked the man if he wanted to press charges. He declined and told me that he just wanted Aaron and her friends to leave Gia alone. Everyone left and we immediately interrogated Aaron about what happened. Apparently, a friend of Aaron had some kind of boyfriend drama with this girl, so they had stolen Gia's MacBook at school earlier that day as some sort of revenge. Luz and I flipped out on Aaron. She committed a crime. And what if the man decided to press charges and she went to jail? Aaron kept acting as if it wasn't a big deal, and we were being the unreasonable ones. Aaron is scheduled to take her permit test soon, and we told her before this happened that we would buy her a car as long as she kept her grades up. She was originally going to get a used Camry, but we had gotten a great deal on a new Nissan for basically the same price. We told Aaron that she would have gotten the Nissan, but now she's not getting the car and it's going to Luca, assuming he keeps up his grades and stays out of trouble. She's also grounded and will have no phone for a month. She argued how it was unfair, but we told her tough. Discounting 2 Bs, Aaron's an all-A student, but Luz and I recognized that having morals is equally important in life as grades. She later told her bio dad about it, and he proceeded to post a rant about me on Facebook, saying how I'm only doing it out of bias towards Luca. This surprised me, as I always thought he and I had a good co-parenting relationship. Friends on Facebook have reached out to me. They know I'm not biased towards Luca. Believe me, if he did this, it would be the same punishment. But think I'm being too hard on Erin since she's still a kid. Everyone makes mistakes. She was peer pressured into doing it, and Erin was promised the car for good grades. I realize Erin isn't an adult yet, but she's still old enough to be responsible for her actions. Now I'm uncertain if Luz and I's expectations are too much and we don't remember what it was like to be teenagers. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Guarantee she has done more to this girl than steal her laptop. Expect to hear from the school about other bad behavior soon, especially if her attitude is that this isn't a big deal. The fact that the father agreed to not press charges on the very specific condition that Erin and her friends leave his daughter alone, means this is only the tip of the iceberg. Erin being OP's stepdaughter has nothing to do with this. For all intents and purposes, she is his daughter. She is a minor under his care that he treats with the same affection and guidelines as he does his own son. I presume if Luca was demonstrating this behavior, he would also receive these punishments. Moreover, though, OP and his wife need to establish whether Erin is continuing to harass other girls, and they need to get her into counseling to correct this behavior. This punishment isn't enough. It's not resonating with her. Not the a-hole for punishing Erin by not giving her a car. But yes, the a-hole for saying you are giving it to Luca. Luca has nothing to do with what Erin did. Luca should have been kept out of it. Now you have caused a problem between them.